Okay guys, hello everyone. Now today we're going to learn how to be a good narrator. And let's check. Now, a narrator tells a story that someone said, and it is really important to know how to narrate a story correctly. For that reason, in English we use a structure called the reported speech, and incredible narrators use it. Today guys, we're going to see a new structure, so I want you to pay attention. We have here a statement. Shrek told Fiona, I love you, right? Well, now let's check a context, right? Now here we have Sarah. Sarah is a girl who saw Shrek yesterday. And Sarah told her mother, hey mother, I saw Shrek. And Shrek told Fiona, I love you, right? But the mom doesn't know the context, right? Doesn't know, well, the mom didn't understand her child, right? So the mom asked her, like, what do you mean, right? Here we have some steps for doing so. So check here, the first one, it is to eliminate extra punctuation. The second one is to place the narrator first with the narrative verb, but if there's a receiver, we need to add it after the verb. Then we have to change the subject. In this case, remember that a subject is a person, people, or etc. And then we have to add the connector that, but this is optional. And at the end, we have to change the tense, right? But now, let's continue, guys, with the next. Checking the step change the tense. We have here some advice, some tips. If the idea is in present simple, you have to change it into past simple. But if the idea is in present continuous, you have to change it into past continuous. If it is in past simple, you have to change it in past perfect. Check. If it is in past continuous, you have to change it into past perfect continuous, and so on, right? But maybe you could have some sentences with auxiliaries. But if you have the auxiliary can, you need to change it into could. Will into would. Shall into should. And may into might. Next one. Now, let's change a statement. We have it here. Shrek told Fiona, I love you. And now, in this case, the first one is to eliminate the extra punctuation. We have here a colon and some quotation marks, so we have to eliminate them. Let's continue. Then the number 2, place the narrator first with the narrative verb. If there is a receiver, add it after the verb. So we have the narrator, Shrek, the narrative verb, told, and the receiver, Fiona. Then we have to change the subject. So remember that a subject is a person or people. In this case, if you remember, the normal idea was Shrek told Fiona, I love you, right? But in this case, are you saying the statement? No, right? Shrek is saying the statement. So what is substitution for Shrek, or what is substitution for boys? He, right? And now we have you, right? Does Shrek love you? No, right? Or maybe we don't know. Well, Shrek doesn't know you, and so Shrek is not mentioning you. Shrek is we saying this statement to Fiona, right? So what is substitution for Fiona? After the verb here. Very good. And let's continue. Okay, and now the next one is to add the connector that, but this is optional. Remember, you can use it or not. In this case, we are going to use it. And next, we have to change the tense, right? But let's check the first idea. And the first idea was Shrek told Fiona, I love you, right? But remember, we already changed the subjects. So we have the action love. So guys, now let's check the steps that we saw at the beginning. Check. Now here we have, if it is in present simple, we use it in past simple. So what was the action? The action was love, right? Love is in present simple. What is love in past simple? Very good. Loved. Okay, and now let's continue with next. And check. We have here loved. And we finish, right? So now let's narrate it. Shrek told Fiona that he loved her. And that's it, guys. We finished. But guys, we also have other type of sentences which we can narrate. We have other orders, yes, no questions, WH questions, and sentences with auxiliaries. As we mentioned at the beginning, we could have can, will, may, or shall, right? But let's see some examples now. Check, guys, when we have orders, we follow the first two steps, right? For each kind of sentence that we are going to see today, right? So these two, you already know them. So now the number 3 is the one that changes the number 3 and 4. Now the number 3 is add the connector to. If it is a positive sentence, add it to. But if it is a negative one, you have to add not to. And check at here. If the negative sentence has don't, the auxiliary don't, you have to eliminate it and put not to, right? Because it is a negative one. And at the end, you have to continue writing the order without any change. And let's see. So the order is, well, Vilma told Shaggy, don't eat Scooby snacks. What's the first step? Eliminate extra punctuation. Here we already eliminated extra punctuation. The number 2 is to place the narrator first with the narrative verb, and if there is a receiver, add it after the. Now let's see here. Vilma told Shaggy, don't eat Scooby snacks. Okay, right? But remember, if we have the auxiliary don't, we have to eliminate it, and we need to place the connector to in negative, that it is not to. Now let's see, we eliminate don't and we place not to, and at the end we just continue writing the order without any change. So Vilma told Shaggy not to eat Scooby snacks. Great. Now we're going to continue with yes no questions. So the first two steps, you already know them. The third one is to add the connector if. The fourth one, switch the auxiliary with the person. In this way, we obtain an affirmative sentence. And check, guys, here, a note. If the question has do, does, did, they are eliminated. So you have to eliminate them. If you see the auxiliaries do, does, or did, remember to eliminate them. And at the end, change the rest of the sentence according to the steps for reported speech. Now let's see an example. Check, guys, the beast asked Bill, do you love me? Now let's see the first step. Eliminate extra punctuation. In the second, place the narrator first with the narrative verb and with the receiver, right? So we have the beast, narrator, verb, and the subject, right? Now we place it here, and then the next step, step number 3, add the connector if. We have it here. The beast asked Bill if. The next one, switch the auxiliary with the person. We have the person here in the question, right? We're talking about the question. We have do you as a question. Now we switch it first. We place you and then do, right? Because in this way we obtain an affirmative sentence, right? Okay, but remember, if we have the helper do, we have to eliminate it. So we eliminate do. Now we have the beast asked Belle if you love me, right? But remember that we have to continue changing the sentence according to the steps for reported speech. So we have here, we have to change the person, right? So now, so here, whom is the beast asking the question? Very good, to Belle. So what is substitution for Belle? She, right? And check, we have the person me. Are you talking about you? No, right? So the person who is asking the question, it is the beast. The beast, remember that it is a prince, right? So that's why we say that it is a boy. So in this case, what is substitution for the beast? But after the action, him, right? And now we have to also change the action here. Remember to change the tense of the action or the verb according to the tips that we saw at the beginning. So remember, if it is in present simple, we have to change it into past simple. So today, love. And in past simple, it is loved. And at the end, so it would be, the beast asked Belle if she loved him. And let's look at them. They are in love, right? We are going to check now the WH question. So the first step is to eliminate punctuation, and the second one is to place the narrator first with the narrative verb, with the receiver if it has, but if not, it doesn't matter. Check, we have here, we place the narrator, that it is Bart, with the narrative verb, that it is set. Okay, everything okay there? Okay, then number 3 is to put the question, the WH question, right? Because remember, in this case, it is a connector, it is not a question. So we have here, Bart said why. The connector now, it is why here. Let's continue. Switch the auxiliary with the person. In this way, remember that we have then an affirmative sentence. But if the question has do, does, or did, we have to eliminate them, right? Let's see now. We have the auxiliary do. So now, we have Bart said why. And remember that we need to change the auxiliary and the subject. So do I, it is a question. Now let's switch it. I do. We eliminate do. Have to do the course. Now we have then, Bart said why I have to do the course. But remember that the last step is to change the rest of the sentence according to the step for reported speech. Example here, Bart said, why do I have to do the course, right? I think everyone says that, and me too. And well, everyone complains about that. Check. Well, now, the first step, remember, it is to eliminate punctuation. We have here the same, the colon and some quotation marks and the question mark. We need to eliminate them. So here we have Bart said, why do I have to do the course? The second step is to, let's see it, place the narrator first with the narrative verb. So we have Bart, narrator, narrative verb, said, right? Now, step number 3, to put the WH question, because in this case it is a connector. So what is the WH question? Why? So Bart said, why? The next one, next step is, let's see, switch the auxiliary with the verb. In this way, we obtain an affirmative sentence, but if we have the auxiliary do, does, or did, we have to eliminate them. In this case, we switch the auxiliary and the subject, right? So do I is a question, affirmation, I do. But remember that do is eliminated here, so we eliminate do, right? Very good. So we have now Bart said why I have to do the course, right? And now, so in this case, And the last step is to change the rest of the sentence according to the step for reported speech, right? Guys, you can check it then. You can take a screenshot or to write it down in your notebook or wherever you want. But check here we have I have to do course. So are you saying are you asking the question? No, right? Bart is asking the question. So what is substitution for Bart? Or what is substitution for boys? Excellent. Here, right? And now here we have the verb have to for obligation. What is have to but in? Remember that we changed the verb. If it is in present simple, we change it into past simple. So have to in past simple, had to, and then we continue with the extra information. Now we have the statement SpongeBob asked, "Can I get a raise, Mr. Krabs?" Get a raise is an expression when you want to obtain more money in your next payment. Now, anyway, we have here the first one. SpongeBob asked, "Can I get a raise, Mr. Krabs?" Remember, the first step of any sentences that we change is to eliminate the punctuation marks. So in this case, we eliminate the colon and the quotation marks. Okay, now then we place the narrator, the verb, and the receiver at the beginning. We have here SpongeBob asked Mr. Krabs. And check here. Now remember, if we have a yes no question, we have to use the connector if, or if we have a WH question, we have to use the WH question as a connector. But in this case, we have a yes no question because we are starting with the auxiliary can, right? Okay, and now we place if after the verb or the receiver. We have here a receiver, so we place it after Mr. Krabs, right? And also remember that when we have a question, we have to switch the auxiliary and the subject. Can I is a question. Now affirmation, I can, right? But remember that when we have the auxiliary can, we have to change it into could. Very good. But now we have SpongeBob ask Mr. Krabs if I could. But are you asking the question? No, right? SpongeBob is asking the question. So in this case, what is substitution for SpongeBob? Very good. He, right? So he is the substitution for SpongeBob because it is a guy. And at the end, we just add the extra information. So the statement would be SpongeBob asked Mr. Krabs if he could get a raise. And that's it. Okay, now guys, we're finishing now. You're going to create your own reported speech sentence. So now you are going to be the narrator. But in this case, you have to think about a dialogue of a movie that you may like or love. So think about the movie that you love or like, or maybe a recent movie that you just watched, and you can choose a dialogue from there. You can search it on Google, or if you remember it, you can write it on your notebook or type it on your cell phone, because then you have to change it, right? You have to change the normal dialogue into a reported speech sentence, and you have to share it with the class.